Hello, I'm Payton Jenkins and welcome to The Edge. Rachel Scott was the first victim in the Columbine mass shooting on April 20th, 1999. Rachel was a student at Columbine High School. After her death, she left her family 6 journals filled with her writings on kindness and compassion. In these writings, she talked about being true to yourself and making an impact on the world. After her funeral, many students came forward and shared their stories with the Scott family. They described her incredible impact on their lives. Soon after hearing of Rachel's amazing ability to spread kindness, her family started the nonprofit organization of Rachel's Challenge. Spreading kindness and compassion throughout our school can help to improve the attitudes of students and make Peters Township High School a better place. Rachel's Challenge is a program dedicated to instilling these values into schools across the country. Rachel wanted to start a chain reaction of kindness. Scott once said, "I have this theory that if one person can go out of their way to show compassion, then it will start a chain reaction of the same." The program aims at helping students to do just one act of kindness a day so that they can start a chain reaction of the same. Students will spread kindness through this reaction. Incorporating these acts into students' lives and starting a chain reaction can impact schools in a major way. According to the Rachel's Challenge website, 160,000 students skip school per day due to fear of being bullied by their peers. These numbers can drastically decrease in students if these acts of bullying are replaced with acts of compassion towards classmates. This organization has also helped to prevent suicide and has averted over 150 suicides a year, according to their website. Through this initiative, it will help students recognize when others are struggling and need someone to talk to. Rachel Scott once wrote, "I want to reach out to those with special needs because they are often overlooked. I want to reach out to those who are new in school because they don't have any friends. And I want to reach out to those who are picked on or put down by others." Reaching out to students that seem different can impact these students in a major way. Even the smallest gesture can help kids to feel included and give them a sense of belonging. Through this challenge, a club is also introduced into the school. The club is called the Friends of Rachel Club or the 4 Club. Some of these students are nominated by teachers to join the club. However, the rest of the student body was invited to sign up for the club as well. The Friends of Rachel Club will help the school to be kind to those who are not treated that way every day. It helps students having difficulties in school to realize that there is a place for them and there are peers willing to help and befriend them and let them know that they are not alone. Rachel's Challenge is not just another initiative being put into place. It is a program that can aid in recreating the culture of our school to feel inclusive to everyone. Today, I have Mr. Christian Lesnett, the Assistant Principal of Peters Township High School and a sponsor for the 4 Club. Thank you for joining me today, Mr. Lesnett.
Hey, pleasure to be here.
So I wanted to start at the beginning, and I wanted to ask you, how was the district introduced to Rachel's Challenge?
Well, the origin of why the district went to the Rachel's Challenge program and paid a good bit of money to bring the program to the district as well. We have been noticing over the years that students, there have been, I don't want to paint a bad picture because the picture is societal. It is not a Peters Township picture, but students in schools today are facing greater challenges and needs in regards to both mental health, feeling empathy towards one another, reaching out, and being kind to one another. You can point the finger to numerous sources of this concern, greater dependence on social media instead of actual personal face-to-face interaction, lack of empathy by role models in the news, various reasons psychologists are wrestling with as to what is the root cause, and there seems to be many, as to why as a society we are struggling with mental health concerns and empathy and not bullying and not picking on and treating one another with kindness and respect. And so we have seen this societal wave. We have seen it play out here in Peters Township over the years, and we wanted to do something that would help to push back against that tidal wave of negativity. And so we do believe in the concept of Rachel's challenge that is really distilled down to her challenge of starting a chain reaction with each personal interaction that you have.
Yeah, just like one little thing can change how your day's going.
It's not about grandiose gestures of kindness or, doing an enormous fundraiser for a charity or things like that. Those are great, and those are wonderful outpourings from someone's heart. However, it is meant to really emphasize and not diminish the importance of those small, everyday interactions. In fact, all of you have now been through the Rachel's Challenge presentation. The part of the presentation, if you think back, was the stories of individual interactions that Rachel had. They didn't tell stories of Rachel raising money for the homeless or fighting for Tibetan independence from China. She was someone that reached out to a student with special needs who was being picked on in that moment. She was a student that would say hello to a new kid or move their lunch tray to sit next to someone who was new at school that day. Small things that made large ripples. Mm-hmm. In fact, the thing that I want people to remember now that we are about a month away from, can you believe a month has passed?
Yeah, it feels like yesterday that we had that
about
assembly.
A month away since the assemblies. The thing that I want to make sure that we don't get lost in the weeds on is that it is not about the grandiose programs. It is about each one of us making individual efforts. To expand on that, the challenge, and this is something that I would call to each student, is it is very easy to get caught up in the negativity of others, mm-hmm. and to feel a sense of powerlessness in saying, yes, but people are so mean, or the comments that people are making to me on social media are so nasty, or no one is supporting me. It's very easy to become very me-focused, and that will not accomplish Rachel's challenge. The challenge there is as an individual to really say, I am going to be the one that makes a difference. Yes, the world is grim and there are grim things happening. I can make a change.
Yeah.
I can start a chain reaction. Don't wait for someone else to do it. Don't sit in despair and ponder about how few people are making a chain reaction. Be the change.
Yeah, if you don't see change, be the change. Yeah.
You got it.
So there are multiple sponsors for Rachel's Challenge Club, right?
Yes.
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 So
10 in fact.
10? How did you choose the sponsors for the club?
Much like the club's selection itself for students, the faculty members were volunteer. I sent an email, as I am often doing, and I send an email to the faculty and asked for anyone that was interested in participating in the program to let me know if they wanted to support the program. About 30 teachers responded to that and said, yes, I'm interested in supporting the program. I met with them and then said specifically to that group, who among you is interested in assisting the students that volunteer to be part of the Friends of Rachel Club? And out of that, I had 10 folks that said, I have the time and the passion to do that. So there are a lot of people that want to support it. Some people are already doing a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Another question I had was, how are you using the club to incorporate the teachings of like Rachel into the rest of the student body in the school?
So the student club itself is the challenge for them is that we want it to be emanating from within their passion.
Yeah.
So you know me, I personally am a very strong believer in students doing things. Mm-hmm. If adults do things to students, it ends up just being somewhat artificial. We want the students to be the source and to create. Because ultimately, it's not really about what you do. It's that you're operating from your passion. when you do something from your passion, it will make a difference.
You have to want to do it.
Yeah, if someone assigned you to doing something,
you don't want to do it. No.
No, I'm going to use your teacher, Mr. Bastos, as an example. So I don't know if you know this, he puts on a chili cook-off every year.
Yeah, I did know that,
for the
actually.
faculty. And it's something that has really come to shape and define faculty collegial culture around here. That it's a time when we get together with people that are not in the departments or in the meetings that we typically go to, and we eat chili together and complain about how hot it is and like that kind of thing,
Yeah.
And it's competitive, which draws me to it. That's why I always participate, because I like to win at really anything. And so I give it my all at making my chili, and then that draws me to the table. But then there's typically like 20 chilies around the table. People talk, and then the money that is donated, because when you get in, and if you're going to eat the chili, you put like $5 or a donation into an envelope. That money gets donated to a charity. And that all stemmed from Mr. Bastos just saying, I want to do something. No administrator assigned him to do that. No faculty member pressured him into doing it, although I'm sure now that it's a thing and he's tired and people pressure him at this point. But at the same time, it came from his passion, and therefore it made a special difference.
Yeah.
Much more than an assignment that he was completing. And it has a ripple effect, and it's something that even among the teachers in the group that met, they came out of the last meeting and said, we need to do a better job of supporting the initiatives and things that people are already doing out of their passion to make a difference around here, to show kindness to people. And Mr. Bastos' chili cook-off was one of those that I went and told him after the meeting. I said, you're going to get some more helpers this year, because people don't want to see you suffer with putting all of that on yourself. So.
Yeah, and it definitely, I think, causes people to want to do their own thing too. Mm-hmm. Like they say, like, if Mr. Bastos can do this, then I can do something as well, and they want to do that too.
Right.
So I just have one more question before we go on our break. How many students do you expect to be in the club? Like, how many are there currently?
So, the day of the assemblies, we had over 360 students sign up to be part of the club. That is 1/4 of the student population here. At the first meeting, we had probably about 60 students that showed up, the first actual meeting. And then at the second meeting, we had about 30 students that showed up. So naturally, there's whenever you're working with a population of people, I don't say those numbers to create disappointment.
Yeah.
The reality is people are busy.
Yeah.
And then the other reality is that there is an emotional response to the presentation that we're trying to harness, and that's a good thing, to respond to your emotions in that way. However, I think people's commitment to it waned as a result of just time and atrophy of interest, whereas the 30 that are attending are desperately committed to seeing the ideals moved forward.
Yeah.
Which is, those are very typical numbers when you're trying to get an initiative off the ground, to have it distill down like that. We want more in it, because I want all of you students to have the opportunity to feel like they are able to give back. There are a lot of clubs, not just the 4 Club, that are already making a difference for the culture here. You have our Students for the Environment Club that do the paper recycling, the SAD Club that does that. Student Council does initiatives that support culture here and support kindness. We have the new, you guys took a survey recently as we're developing the Trust Crew.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Which are students that are going to be given capacity and training to assist peers that are struggling with mental health concerns. So those are all wonderful things that are going on. So just because 4 Club is getting distilled down to the people that really are passionate about that, that's naturally going to happen, and that's okay. But the membership is still open. So for anyone watching the show, if you are like, man, I really wanted to be part of that, it's not too late. My goodness, no.
So you can just go and join whenever.
Yes, if you want to join, see Mrs. Sittler for the Remind account. She can get you set up. She's the one that's running the communication for it. You just got to get on the Remind account, because all of the meetings and schedule stuff is happening and reminded through Remind.
Okay, that's all the time we have for questions now, but we'll be right back with The Edge with Mr. Lesnett. welcome back to The Edge. Today I'm joined with Mr. Christian Lesnett, and we're talking about Rachel's Challenge. Okay, Mr. Lesnett, so my first question for you is, how do you think that Rachel's Challenge can improve the attitudes of students altogether, like just the entire culture of the school?
Rachel's Challenge cannot improve the attitudes of individual students. Individual students can improve their attitudes based on the challenge that was issued to them, right? So
right.
Rachel's Challenge is an empty thing if it is not picked up and personally identified with.
Exactly,
so if students are expecting Rachel's Challenge to have come from the outside of them and to make a change for them, they will find themselves disappointed.
They have to embrace it.
You got it. It is not about, hey, I'm going to receive something different now. People will be nicer to me. People will be kinder to me. You're going to find yourself disappointed because every one of us is responsible for embracing the challenge. And so you have to look at it as, what am I going to give? Because the truth is that there is psychological research, and Daryl Scott, her father, who spoke at the Bible Chapel as a culminating event for the community after all 5 buildings got their presentations, he spoke of the psychology of kindness. And that is something that stuck with me from his presentation, is that when you are kind to someone else, there are 3 people affected. The first person is the person that is the recipient of your kindness. They are both encouraged and challenged when they receive kindness, right?
Right.
Think of when someone has done something nice for you. It changes your day and you say, I need to do better,
you feel better,
right?
yeah.
You walk away with a personal commitment. The second person that's affected is the person giving the kindness. When you give kindness, you get it back because your heart was written to be a giver of kindness.
I know when I'm nice to someone, it always makes me feel good about myself too.
You got it. You got it. And that's exactly the case, because when you give kindness, your heart is encouraged. And they say that endorphins are released in your brain as a result of giving kindness, just as receiving it. And then there's a third person. The third person is a bystander that saw that act of kindness. In fact, some of the greatest revolutions of kindness were started by a witness of kindness. People like Martin Luther King Jr. constantly cited role models and mentors and examples of kindness and sacrifice to help others throughout his civil rights career. That was something that he didn't just come up with it. He was inspired by teachings of Jesus and Gandhi, and he cited these people all the time. And he was inspired by them. So do not miss the third person that is affected when kindness is shown, because they say that endorphins are released in your brain when you witness an act of kindness as well. And then it challenges someone to also go and do better. That's how the chain reaction gets started.
Yeah.
Is that I do something kind to you, you respond in kind, and then someone else sees it and responds in kind as well. It has an exponential capability.
Yeah. And then I wanted to ask, does Rachel's Challenge have any personal significance to you, that you're so passionate about it?
You guys, well, the longest any of you have been here is 4 years. I've been here for 8 years. And so I would say that, especially you seniors, you know me. People that have worked with me closely know me. And when I see Rachel's Challenge, when I read about Rachel's Challenge, I said, this is fitting for Peters Township High School, and is also fitting for me, and it's something I can easily get behind, because I'm a big believer that I can make a difference with small gestures. The reason why I've always stood out front and greeted you guys is because I want you to start with a kind smile and a good morning and a personal hello. A small thing, but a lot of times that makes a difference in how you start, because interactions between people and emotions have a tendency to be contagious. And so if I had a bad interaction with somebody, the likelihood of me having a bad interaction with you goes up, right? If I had a good interaction with somebody prior, the likelihood of me having a good interaction with you goes up. So that's something that I've always believed in. Another personal connection that I've had to it was when I was sitting there watching Daryl Scott speak. Something that really crushed me was he would close his eyes every time that Rachel's casket appeared on screen. I was sitting in the front row at the chapel, so I could see that. But every time that they would play the multimedia videos, and then her casket would be on there, he would close his eye. He could not see the casket.
When I was watching that presentation at the Bible Chapel, I was like, how does he go through this every time knowing that his daughter had passed away? I think that would be very hard for someone, especially him, talking about it all the time.
So you know how people say, and you've probably heard it, where they say, well, once you have kids, you'll understand. I have 3 children, and I'm going to try not to cry on this set. So watching Daryl, my inspiration with Rachel's Challenge personally, I'd say was at its zenith that night at the Bible Chapel, watching Daryl, thinking, my goodness, how does he have the capacity to go on and do this night after millionth night, right? I mean, he was leaving us, didn't even stay in Pittsburgh, flew in that morning, presented, got on an airplane, flew to Washington, D.C., like to present to Congress. The same type of presentation.
That's crazy.
Again and again and again.
Yeah.
Reliving his daughter's death and murder and the life that she lived, and being reminded that he only sees her now in the presentations. And then here's the other personal connection. I'm the exact same age as Rachel.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
She and I were seniors in high school the same year.
That's insane.
Columbine occurred my senior year of high school. Yeah.
I feel like when I think of Rachel, I think like she's like my age, but she'd be older now.
She would be 38. Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. So.
No way you're 38, Mr. Lesnett.
Yes. I don't know whether that's a compliment or an insult, but my personal connection was I am the same age as Rachel, so I'm a dad, and 3 times over, and to sit there and watch him go through his daughter's death, it was very, very challenging to me to think, if this guy can do that because he cares so much about you and you and you and you and everybody else, to share this message of hopefulness out of despair, my goodness, what is my problem? I need to get out there and do a better job. I need to go and I need to be making a difference. I need to be kinder, So I walked away from all of this like, yeah, we're setting this up for students, but I myself personally was deeply impacted.
And I also think he probably does it because he loved her so much. He knew that she wanted to have an impact on the world, so he's spreading her message that way. That's why I really love Rachel's Challenge. Another one of my questions was, speaking of the assembly at the Bible Chapel, how important do you think it is that the schools and the community come together in this challenge?
Very much so. Good question. So I don't know if you know of Peters Township Character Counts as an organization. It's a community organization that meets monthly. At the beginning of each month, we meet at various locations throughout the township. And it is the one confluence organization where all of the entities of the township come to one table, share lunch, share ideas, share challenges for one another, and then encourage each other to continue to act in ways that promote good character, right? Kindness is one of the 3 main elements of Character Counts. So, Character Counts was the organization through which the additional funding beyond the school district's contribution, we fundraised in the community, and there were community groups and things that contributed money to get Daryl here. Because bringing Daryl in, we had to pay for him to fly out, we had to pay for his stay, we had to pay for the event fee, we had to pay that money, and so we also paid for the t-shirts that were given out to all the 4 club students and the faculty members. So there was money that the district contributed, and then Character Counts met them and contributed the rest. And so Character Counts is really trying to drive the Rachel's Challenge initiative from the community perspective. I am one of the coordinators Peters Township Character Counts. Captain Jen Ford of the Peters Township Police and Mrs. Kelly Keene of the Chamber of Commerce. We are the three coordinators of the group, and we set the meetings and set the agendas, and there are many people that come to each of our meetings and are contributing. So now there's a big challenge on the community adults, your parents and PTSA and police and fire, Parks and Rec, Chamber of Commerce, local churches. How are they keeping this flame going? How are they pushing this initiative? So that's something that we are also working on that you may not have seen or known of.
Yeah, my parents went to see Mr. Scott speak, and they were really impacted as well. So I think it's having a great impact on the community too.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah. Another question I had was, how do you weigh like a success and a failure within the 4 Club? Like, what is a success and what is a failure within the club, like within the challenge?
I would say failure is failure to do anything. So if we fail to give students the pathways through which to operate out of their passion towards demonstrating kindness towards their peers, that I would consider a failure.
Not doing anything.
Yeah, so I would say apathy is the greatest enemy of kindness.
Yeah.
It is not evil directly.
Standing
it is
idly
apathy.
by. Yeah.
You got it, yeah.
Okay, and then what would you consider a success?
Success would be a revolution. I would say ultimate success, A+. A+ success would be a revolution of kindness, one where students that fear coming here don't fear anymore. Mm-hmm. Students that are met with rudeness and intolerance would not be met with rudeness and intolerance, but would be met with appreciation and understanding. Success would be one where friendships are restored and increased, and conflicts are diminished and resolved. Those elements are already happening. Students reported in the wake of the Racial Challenge, one student reported, he said, an enemy that I've had for 3 years that I've been battling with on social media and in various other walks of life, we apologized and we reconciled. Reconciliation and forgiveness is the pathway forward. Kindness kind of sparks that flame. So that would be success.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we have for questions today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Sure, pleasure.
Today we talked about Rachel's Challenge. With the introduction of this program into the high school, the rest of the district, some major changes on the way. Kindness and compassion are not just words. They are acts that can change a person's perspective. Starting a chain reaction of kindness can help kids all across the community to feel more included and feel happier throughout their day. Rachel's Challenge can aid in preventing bullying and improving the attitudes of students altogether. Being kind to just one person can help you to impact the world. So maybe you want to ask yourself, do I accept Rachel's Challenge?